Mike will.
I pull up with a pink tongue, I put some diamonds on her toes, let her hold on and I'm rich. We was used to pulling
That money go for miles.
I've been getting it since a toddler, I keep dollars on my head. Been a real one is my motto.
Welcome back to United Market YouTube channel. Today we're with the one and only MoneyGoForMyles.
It's good.
So let's take it back to the beginning. So where you from, man?
Originally from New York, but grew up in Charlotte, North Carolina.
So how was growing up in Charlotte? How was like music scene and everything like that?
It wasn't really like a music scene for real. Like high school, it was just like, it was people around like the baby, he was going by Baby Jesus and stuff like that at the time. It was like a couple other people, but it wasn't, like it was, everybody had their own little cliques and shit like that, and everybody was just making music and some young shit, but nobody popped off out the city. It was like old heads like Anthony Hamilton and shit like it wasn't nobody else for real. Like,
Yeah. So now you're in Atlanta now, right?
yeah.
So kind of had that happen.
Atlanta, I moved down here, I went to SAE.
Yeah.
So I was about to come out here to go visit, to go to a film school or some shit like that. My homie told me about SAE, so while I was here, I just checked this shit out.
Okay.
And I was like, hold on, I'm gonna just go here. Shit way cheaper. Then me and the homies came down here, got a crib, and then shit, from there, it was
Just went up.
yeah, like history after that.
So SAE, that's more of like a film school type, right?
Nah, SAE is audio engineering and music production and yeah.
Okay. So how did you start getting into the music side of things? Was it always a passion for yours, or you start somewhere else?
Yeah, I mean, it started through skating, just watching skate videos, learning different type of music and shit for real, just expanding my horizon with that. My parents always listened to music, and then me and my brother Brio, he was like finding videos and shit on YouTube, niggas cooking up and stuff like that. Seen this one dude named Booney Mayfield, he was going crazy on the MPC.
Yeah.
That shit just had us like locked in, like we gotta figure out how to do this, but they was already rapping and shit like that, so I was like, man, we can figure out how to do these beats and shit. And we just started from there, started on GarageBand,
Yeah, that's right.
kept going, found out about FL, started meeting people online. This producer named Lakim, he showed me like a lot of shit through like the AIM instant messenger shit. We used to go on video chat shit. He just be showing me a bunch of shit on there, and then that shit just kept developing.
Yeah. So now here you are.
Yeah.
So so I know now you work with Mike Will Made It. So how did that relationship kind of start?
So I used to, from skating, I got into doing photography and videography.
Okay.
So I was focused on that for like a good minute before I was like fully tapped in with the music.
Yeah.
So when I first moved down here, I was still doing that. So I was working with 2-9. It was a group he signed early on.
Okay.
Like right around the time he found Ray Shrimmer.
Yeah.
So I was working with them, doing all their video content, photo content, going on tour with them. Me and Gunna Star was doing all their shit.
Yeah.
And then after that, once he signed Shrimp and they started getting motion, I started working with them. And Mike was just seeing all the shit he was doing.
Yeah.
And then that shit took off. And then I started working with Mike on the video and photography side first. And then as we got closer and shit, got to know each other, then they started seeing that I was into music. And then that shit just turned into that slowly. Though it wasn't like automatic. Like,
So it took a few years.
yeah, like niggas they had a crib in LA, Mac Miller old crib that he did the TV show in, and they was staying there. I was on tour with Shrimp for a minute, so I'd be like in the middle room cooking up and shit in the studio room, hearing shit. One day I was playing this beat, Mike heard that shit, he was downstairs playing 2K. He was like, what the fuck is that? Like, yelling through the house, nigga, send me that shit. I'm like, I bet. Then like, next day we ended up going to the studio with Future.
Yeah.
And then he ended up getting on that shit.
Sure.
And then WAP on me.
Yeah. Oh, it's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously you kind of start with the film. That's how you got your relationship with them. But to a young producer coming up, what advice would you give them to kind of get noticed by a Mike Will Made or another top producer like that?
Right now, I say build your own sound with an artist. Like, that's the best way to get known in general. Like, all the producers that are like Mike Wills are artists that have, I mean, all producers that have sounds. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like Metro, even Jetson with the baby. Just anybody, they really came up with an artist, built some shit that everybody wanted to know about. Pierre, Ricardi. Now everybody like, let me get a Pierre beat, da da da. You know what I'm saying? So that's really the best way. Like, just create that sound with an artist, and once the world gravitate to it, the right people gonna start coming your way for real.
So you recommend instead of like going from artist to artist, kind of find one artist, how like you said, Pierre, Ricardi, kind of work with them and grow together.
Yeah. I would say that would be the best for your foundation. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, I'm still working in that direction as well. Though, like I did it a different way through doing the film and doing the photos and shit like that. So it was like I made myself useful in different ways. So it was like once I was over here, and then they found out about the music. Once it made sense, it made sense. But it was a minute before I had to still be on that for a minute before I could even just be like, yo, I make beats, da da da. Like, it's already so many producers over here. It's like, nigga, we got all the producers we need. Like, grew into that eventually. You know what I'm saying?
I feel it. So at this point in your career, like you work with Young Boy, you said you work with Future, you work with Gunna. At this point, would you rather continue to work with like the big names, or kind of do how Metro and 21 are, and kind of build with the already established artists or up and coming artists?
Both for real. Like I always gonna want to work with the people I always looked up to and wanted to work with. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I am like super interested in working with an artist that I can really build with, create a sound with right now. So I'm on the look for that for sure.
So how do you kind of find an artist that you kind of will want to build that sound with? Like, what do you look for in an artist?
I mean, how you would find it though is like continuing to just work with all the different people that you're interested that you come across. But I mean, me personally, as far as sonically, my sound is more like it could go from trap to like a mixture of R&B. I wouldn't say like full R&B to some like young turn shit. So it's like I still be looking like somebody who got like a mixture of all that and a message though, because like that's something about me that I'm like more so interested in, not just trying to do what everybody else is doing. I'm really trying to bring a message to this shit.
So what's like the message you're trying to bring?
My message is more about just knowing your true self, being in tune with yourself, being in tune with God, love, positivity, peace, like, and just really growth. You know what I'm saying? Progression, like, not really with all the drill shit and all that extra shit. Like, it's cool. Like, it sound hard, but I mean, I ain't come from that background, so I'm not gonna sit here and act like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not walking around talking and all that extra shit. Like, I'm not on it.
I feel it. You gotta stay true to yourself in the music game. I feel like a lot of times a lot of people kind of get away from who they really are, and that's when they start losing their fan base and whatnot. You know? So, in terms of, we talked about artists to producers. So, in terms of producer collab, right? How do you feel about, like a lot of times producers, like 2 or 3 producers on the songs, how do you feel about producers collaborating?
I love it. I mean, it expands you to work with more people, learn new stuff, work with new artists. It's I mean, it depends what way you want to go about the collaboration. Like in person is always dope. I fuck with when people send me melodies and loops and stuff like that too, but it's just gotta make sense. Like sometimes niggas be sending loops that they didn't make, or loops that might have 4 or 5 people on them, and it don't really make sense at that point. Like, you know what I'm saying? But,
So like when you are accepting loops from other producer, would you rather email them to you, or like send it to you on like app like Not Market? Like you can send it straight to you.
I mean, if you got my number, that's one thing. If not, some shit like you're not in message. I mean, you're not in market, you'll be fine.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So, when doing the producer collab, would you usually charge another producer to work with you for a placement opportunity?
Nah, I ain't really on that. I like to work with new producers and just help them grow. You know what I'm saying? But you just gotta be fire for real. Like that's all it is. Like fire. Or if I like rock with you as a person, then you can do something.
Okay. So I know right now you under Mike and you sign Sony and whatnot. Would you ever think about starting your own label to sign other producers?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Eventually, I want to get to the point where it makes sense for me to do that. Yeah, I'm still building what I got going on, but it's crazy that when I was in Charlotte, I had a company named Third Eye, and I had like a bunch of artists and producers that I was working with, and I was doing all like the content and stuff for them, putting out all the music and stuff like that. So I've done something similar before, but you just got to take it to the next level. You got to, that shit got to be big. You don't really do it.
I feel. So far, you work, like I said, you work with some of the biggest in the game. Who's your favorite artist to work with so far, or your favorite song that you've worked on with the artist?
I mean, that was on here with my favorite song that I worked on, but like my favorite studio session was the Pharrell session for Pharrell with Kendrick Lamar for what's the name of the song in my head?
It was hard.
Yeah, it's the mantra.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was like my favorite studio session because Pharrell is like my favorite producer artist. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like,
He's a legend.
just even being able to be a part of that with Mike Will, that shit was big.
So kind of since it's been post, and it was still a little pandemic, but after that, do you prefer to work in person, or would you rather kind of like work at home and have you send it to your post and going into the studio and working together like that?
I mean, I feel focused more when I'm like working by myself, to be honest, but I'm like always down with the collabs in person as long as the energy is good, you know what I'm saying? Like, I always lock in.
So what do you think some benefits of collaborating with other producers are?
Like I was saying, really, it opens you to a whole network that you don't have. Like, you work with another producer that's working on this. Now you got access to these artists, access to hearing new sounds, learning new things while you cooking up and stuff like that. So it's definitely helpful. Like, that shit is definitely helpful.
So I know you're talking about your sound. So how would you describe it though? Like how is it unique?
My sound come really more from like how I feel though, like at the moment. So I can't sit down and say that every single time I sit down, I even know what I'm about to make. Like, I might hear a sound and it might inspire me and lead me in a certain direction. I mean, sometimes when I'm working on stuff for a specific artist, I try to lean towards something in specific, but I feel like the best just comes when you just being free. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't really know how to put a title on my sound. You know what I mean?
I feel it.
It's just a mixture of like a bunch of stuff. Like, that's, if anything, I mix a bunch of genres together. It's not like strictly trap or strictly R&B or it's like a mixture of all that stuff together for real.
Okay. So at this point in your career, I mean, a lot of people would love to be in this place that you are. So I'm pretty sure you are hard every day. So how do you kind of avoid burning out?
Taking breaks, working on yourself for sure. Like, that's probably the main thing. Like, that'll keep you not burnt out. Working out, stuff like that. Skating. Just not only having everything be about music to the point where it's like when you need a break from it, you don't have anything else to go to. You know what I'm saying? So it's probably being in tune with yourself, meditating, stuff like that. That's probably like keep me grounded the most for real.
So outside of music, what else do you like to do other than skate and stuff?
Other than skate, I got a clothing company that I'm working on, Love Love's company. Just
Tell us about that.
So yeah, Love Love's company. It's the opposite of Misery Love's company. So
Okay.
you know what I'm saying? Like, pull up with the good energy. It's gonna be infectious to everybody around. If you don't have in situations where somebody can pull up with that negative energy in the room arguing and doing that, and you fuck the whole room up.
Yeah.
Like, that's just a simple way of explaining it, but it's really more so about just that what you put out, you get back. Universal law, just being in tune with yourself. It's all about the message, for real, for real.
So yeah, y'all go check out Love's Love Company. Saying that's it, man. Thanks for tapping in with us, man. We appreciate it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Appreciate it, man.